I'll allow you to record now.
Okay. Hey, welcome. Episode 149, We Made It Podcast.
We are back.
We're waiting for the Portuguese, sir.
149.
Yeah, back in the building. Stream C's in the building, grinning hard. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you check out C's streaming. We Made It C's on Twitch. He's going hard. He's dancing. He's playing Apex. He's abusing us.
Not dancing like that meme though.
Huh?
Not the dancing like in the GIF.
Yeah, no, not that animal. Caesar's definitely streaming on Twitch, playing Apex, and abusing me and Sean of Audio Face Podcasts on Pro Clubs, abusing us. So you're gonna confirm that you're an abusive person on video games?
I'm not gonna do that, but I'm definitely gonna say I'm pretty good at FIFA.
Okay, but are you pretty abusive?
We can talk about that next episode.
Okay. Anyway,
today about that after the 40-minute mark.
Yeah, we're hoping that we can get more than 40 minutes. Caesar might have jugged it somehow, but we're not sure yet.
We'll see.
Yeah, definitely recording today is April 21st during the pandemic, the 2020 coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. That's for posterior's sake. If anybody's listening to this in 30 years, you'll know that in April 2020, it was a global pandemic. Let's hope that there's still civilization.
The day after 420 also.
I'm not going to expose you, you know what I'm saying, even though it's legal here. But Caesar, how you feeling, dog? I wanted to start off this episode, asking how you're doing. We've seen each other a few times, but you know what I mean? How's quarantine treating you, sir?
I think
Don't start crying, please.
I was too late. But no, I think it's really crazy because the first couple of weeks of this was like harder. I think I was in a hard place. It's hard adjustment because I think with any just a lot of people in general, it's just hard to adjust to something like this,
Absolutely.
And the beginning was tough. I'm not gonna lie, just to have like basically 90% of your life kind of just lifestyle taken away from you was just not easy to cope with. So I was having a really, really hard time. And I think around like a week and a half in, I started making some big changes in my life in order to just try to get more positivity and happiness out of myself and stop trying to stop thinking about, what's wrong and start focusing on what I can do to make the days go by better. And I've taken some steps. I don't know what people have done. And I think right now I can honestly say I'm doing really good. I feel my mood is better. I feel better. And I'm just,
why are you still abusing us then?
Huh?
Why are you still abusive then?
Now, when I said take some of the necessary steps to make myself better, abusing you guys is one of them.
There we go. Yes, I have somebody to take my anger out on.
Although you are the best CDM in pro clubs.
But I still got to get abused though.
You do.
I just want to say before I talk about my experience, although this is our first time recording an episode, quote unquote, together in I think 5 weeks. We have put out 5 episodes since then. We have the best of episodes 131 to 139, then best of episodes 140 to 148. Then we dropped the women's issues in football, which is incredible. Then dropped the 2017-18 Champions League highlights, which was the recaps of PSG versus Real Madrid and the recaps of Barcelona versus Roma, which is fire. And then last week dropped the End Racism in Football Part 1.
I mean, we really does this.
Part 2 will be coming soon. But let me just go ahead and expose Caesar really fast. Because if y'all remember, last month, Caesar, this is last month, by the way, Caesar was like, oh, no, it's not going to be a big deal. Like, no, I'm not really worried about it. I mean, granted, this is before Donald Trump said it was a Democratic hoax. It's before that, because we were on this very early.
So are you trying to lightly implying that I said it was a hoax before Donald Trump did?
Yeah, you actually influenced the president.
Are you lightly implying that I was ahead of Donald Trump on the hoax train?
Yeah, you said it was a hoax. Then he put up the ante and said it's a Democratic hoax.
And you're just like, I'm just gonna put them together. F
He
it.
was like, it does seem like a hoe. He's like, I like what that scissor guy's saying.
I mean, you do call me the John McCain of streamers.
You are the John McCain of streamers, but Trump and John McCain hated each other.
They did. That was a fun Republican run. But go ahead.
Yeah, it was definitely tough in the beginning, like when things quote unquote went into lockdown. I think everybody had a level of paranoia. Everybody had a level of everybody was stressed out. You just didn't know what was going to happen, and it's easy to kind of like think of the worst case scenario and like what could happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think the things that the most important thing I think for me has been that like nobody that I care about, nobody that I know has gotten sick.
Yeah.
And I was definitely worried about that with like a few people, including yourself. Um, but I guess like you had
Make me
gotten,
cry, please.
huh?
Don't make me cry, please.
Yeah. I mean, but you had gotten sick like in January, like December.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
you
January,
always be
February.
sick,
Yeah.
kind of. So like,
Yeah.
at least you're always gonna have the COVID cough all year. You
Yeah.
might have admitted that.
You know me, I got my COVID cough on deck, but
Yeah. Like, but that's the things I was like worried about. I was like you and Ismail. I'm like, I really hope they like those are the two sickliest people I know. So like y'all didn't get sick or haven't yet. And So that was like the most important thing is like nobody got sick. Nobody got sick in my household. Nobody I know's gotten sick because that would be like really stressful.
Well, that's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, and also just like how certain people gonna react, like the opposite of that. You know what I'm
Game's on
saying?
the table no more. Now we see you doing it.
Like, what are these people gonna do? Like,
what are these?
yeah, what are those? Like, how are they gonna react? How are these people?
How are these gonna react?
I don't have nothing else.
No, your wall. Your wall's pretty good. Your wall's a pretty good one.
How are these?
How are these gonna react?
And honestly, like I can say that for all the paranoia that I think we all felt, like the collective trauma that we all felt initially, people have shown the best side of themselves for the most part. Obviously, we've seen some anti-Asian hate crimes and things like that, and we have, now we got people protesting all kinds of silly stuff, but there's been a lot of people going out of their way to help each other.
Yeah.
People adjusting to different realities fairly seamlessly, like wearing masks and things like that. So.
And one more thing before we continue, and I think I speak on both behalf of both of us on the show that
Go ahead.
that we really want a big shout out to people working in the medical field and hospitals. California, especially around we can all name a ton of people we know or by way of association that are nurses and RNs and practitioners and physicians, all these people that do these for a living. They're grinding out here. And
big shout out to Big Tragic Magic, aka Mufasa's Taquitos on Twitch. Make sure you follow the freedom fighter. Big shout out to Khadijah on the front lines, freedom fighting for all of us. There is one thing that can happen out here that'll make everybody go nuts. They close them grocery stores.
Yeah.
That's
if
it.
you weren't able to do those lines around the block, it'd be an issue.
Boy, if they close them grocery stores,
it'd be a movie.
Yes, exactly. So
I would be like, I think we should like talk about anchoring down in the same house and just like let's all stick together because it might get wild out here. No one should be living alone if they shut down groceries. Don't be living alone if you're in a grocery. Try to link up with somebody. Get a 2-person household going at minimum.
You feel me? Like honestly, like everybody that's out there, the grocery store workers, people that
anybody, not just of course
people that are picking up trash, people that's working in the hospitals,
essential workers in general. You guys out there, like freedom fighters,
hard. People that are out there, like family members taking care of their elderly family members.
And it's not even the fact that you're also doing things to help and save others. The fact that you're also putting yourself at risk because your job is deemed as essential, whether you feel it is or not, doesn't matter. You're out there putting in work, you're a freedom fighter, and like honestly, like we can't thank you enough because even though there's economic issues, other stuff going on in America, like you're still doing your thing out there, and like Can only show you love for that. Seriously.
Absolutely. And wash your hands. You know what I'm saying? Disinfect your car.
Yeah, or get a friend that does it for you. Either way, whatever works for you.
Yes. But yeah, so yeah, you thought it was a hoax in the beginning. You're like, oh no, I should put
Here you
that
go.
clip
Here
up
you go
somehow.
back again.
Yeah, I should put that clip up somehow.
You should not do that.
That'd be great, actually.
I'm actually down to. Maybe I'll do it. I'll cut where I said it's a hoax, and then cut to where I think it's serious.
Can we put that clip and put like the date as like yesterday?
I'm gonna put prior to recording episode.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Even though we're both in the same place, it's kind of sketchy to do that. Now it's gonna look like we're both hanging out during this lockdown,
which we haven't. I'm just joking. Anyway, Caesar, let's get into what's going on. We got a few things we want to cover today. We're going to talk about how COVID-19 has affected sports in general, and things starting to potentially come back somewhat soon. We're going to talk about player wage cuts, the controversy surrounding that. We might get into will Serie A survive this? We're going to talk about Liga MX and what's going on down in Mexico. And damn it, I meant to pull up an old article. I completely forgot, but it's okay. And we're gonna.
You're on the computer now, so.
I'm sorry.
You're on the computer now, so.
Yeah, but I don't want to be typing and stuff. That's awkward. I don't trust myself. Like I'm sure I'll cut it off.
I just can't wait for your big Norton antivirus to pop up like this on your screen while you're doing this.
Some people will never grow up. Anyway, I just want to. Okay, so going back, like we talked first about this virus February 12th. Actually, that was the first time we talked about it on the podcast. Because of Dele Alli making racist jokes in the airport.
You thought we forgot, didn't you, buddy?
Definitely did not forget.
Forgot Dele. You thought we forgot.
Definitely didn't. That was the first time we talked about it. The first games that were suspended over the virus were in Italy. That was on February 22nd. And then Italy last played a game March 9th. And the first time we talked about it in Serie A was February 28th. And then March 11th was the day that we were informed while we were recording that the NBA was suspended, and Caesar kind of went crazy. He was like, whoa, I guess it is serious.
I guess the hoax is legit.
Yeah.
The only thing is weird is because it was like it happened before a game ball could be thrown in the air. That's what made it like, whoa, hey, like they didn't want to just risk everybody play the game first and then stop. Like they just like no, like, no, don't throw that ball up.
Dr. Fauci ran out. No,
he went up and just slapped the ball down for a landing. No.
But yeah, I mean, and then March Madness was canceled, and then like at the last episode we recorded was the PSG versus BVB match that was played behind closed doors. That was the second leg of round of 16 of Champions League. And then after that, it's like, that was it. Like they played some Europa League matches that Thursday. And then like, that was it. I don't think any games were played that weekend.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But now Serie A is saying they want to return back to training May 4th, which is like 2 weeks just about. Liga says it wants to come back June 17th, and they like absolutely want to finish the season. They were saying that they want to play like, I'm sorry?
How would they do that?
They were saying they want to play a game every 3 days and finish the season. Bundesliga, I mean, France was pretty bad. Germany was not as bad. Bundesliga says they want to start playing again on May 9th, and maybe they'll start playing behind closed doors.
They're not the only organization who wants to do that too.
But Belgium, the Belgian league, Scottish league, which includes Celtic and Rangers, and the Netherlands have all canceled their seasons.
Yeah, well, we didn't need to see Motherwell versus the Old Town Newfoundland boys. It's okay.
But those three leagues, or at least Scotland and the Netherlands, I'm assuming Belgium too, they only canceled their season after UEFA told them that it would not affect them playing in Champions League next season.
Mm,
So I think so maybe they would have come back if they said that you can't play Champions League if you cancel your season, but they said that you can still play Champions League. So all those three, their seasons are done.
it's crazy. Well, I mean, I don't know what the hell UEFA's reasoning is for some of these things or not, but in the end, the it's just better for those countries in general that those leagues aren't going to be playing because number one, the infrastructure is totally different when you're trying to run games without fans and all that. Like it's a whole different infrastructure. It's different money setup, and if that's what's best for the safety, I think the health of the players, and I'm happy. Now I don't know. I mean, I don't really know how I feel about these other organizations that are really big running games still. I
You
mean,
don't
it's
think that they should be playing games?
I absolutely don't think so. I only ties into what I believe that they're all just trying to fill contractual obligations. And it's funny to me that I want to know what kind of contract is written out there that you got to still run games and get paid even if there's a nationwide pandemic going. That's what I want to know. Like what writing is
Well,
that
maybe
in?
they're just
Page
feeling that
17, Article 4?
I think maybe they're saying like it won't be as bad by then, so they can start playing again.
Well, they're hoping it won't be as bad by then, so they can start playing again. Because some of those plays are talking about it's so damn expensive to have nothing going on right now. You know, they're
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
they're probably eating money right now.
but that's also a thing too. Like, I mean, some of these teams are losing a lot of money, and the money isn't just for the team or the players. There's a lot of people surrounding it, but also the players too.
Well,
You know
not
what I
just
mean?
yeah. I understand that. I hate to take this line. It's so difficult when you do this because yes, there's people that are employed. Yes, people need to work. Yes, people are probably not doing so hot, and it's affecting a lot of people. But to me, just the number one thing, it's like, what's worse? What's better? You being able to work or you being able to be alive? Like, what matters right now? Because it's not about the safety of Mbappe or the safety of Neymar or the safety of I don't know who the Di Maria. It's about who people are in contact with in their daily life and what's their safety
Like
because
their family members, you say?
family members, friends, somebody passed by. Like it's just
What
that's
about if they test
because those
everybody?
guys can take care of themselves.
What
But
about
it's
if they
hmm?
what about if they test everybody before they come back and play?
Yes, but the thing is testing doesn't leave you immune to exposure. Exposure is different. To bear the responsibility of not spreading out a pandemic upon athletes to lock themselves down, I think it's kind of stupid to do that. When
So
you why is that above? Why are we in a world? I mean, we do a sports podcast. Why are we in a world where sport is the most important thing right now to get back? Like if you sit here and you're just like I can't function because I can't watch somebody kick a ball around, you got your own issues to handle, dude. Like go pick up a PlayStation a one and go play some FIFA 14 or something. Go get it out of your system because right now it's like, can we just get back and work on like getting the little things back and building ourselves back to watching people kick the ball around? Like people that are people that are wanting to watch. Even here, I do it. Even people that want to watch like a fighting or sport event. Do you really want to spend $70 that bad on pay per view? Is that what you're really clamoring to do in your life right now? Like you should be holding that money for these groceries that you got to fight people off for anyways.
so you're saying you have the exact opposite idea of this than your president Bolsonaro.
First of all, yeah, and I think that yeah,
Your guy.
just like your president Donald Trump, I think that you have similar views on when you guys should be coming back to play. That's good to know.
No, I mean honestly, like I mean, I can't say I know exactly what's going on in Germany, France,
Yeah,
Sweden. I can't say I know like if it would be a good idea for them to bring back games or not. I don't. Okay, there's a lot of people that are like so against games behind closed doors, and I'm personally not. I watched that PSG versus BVB match, and it was turned up. Like it wasn't. It didn't. You at some point you don't. I mean, at some point watching it on TV, you completely forget that there's no
I
fans
don't
there.
give a damn if there's no fans of the game. That's whatever. I've watched plenty of games. I watched the Bayern Champions League game with no fans in there. I watched the Barcelona game a year ago with no fans, or 2 years ago during the treble year they had a no fan game. That's not a big deal to me. Of course, like you said, like I don't know what every country's different. Like countries like
Yeah.
Korea are gonna have public voting outside. Like there's things that they're because based upon they're having the virus over there has like stayed stagnant for 7 days. They feel like it's okay now to start opening things up. That's different. It's not me based on knowing how every country's doing. It's based upon just thinking immediately what CDC has talked about here
Our
and what
CDC is
regulations
garbage.
are. if they're saying that they're good to go out there and things are better and they can do it, then please do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's making sure that the public's health is put first before monetary corporate gains, which these
I would imagine.
corporations.
I would imagine out there, like I would imagine that, especially in France, like the people have enough sway to be like, either we're going to do it or we're not. But
Yeah.
if the people feel like it's safe, then like it'll happen. And Germany too. Like it's not like America. We live in a damn Mad Max war zone where, what did Robbie and Abby Martin call it, a corporate sacrifice zone. I love that.
That's actually like literally a bar.
Yeah. So like we're in slaves to like corporate capitalism, but
Oh,
there to, I mean, not to say that capitalism doesn't exist there, but it's a little bit different. So I mean, it'll. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. It'll make me happy to see some football on TV.
oh yeah, me too. I
But
mean, I love sports. Like I want to see stuff, but you know,
but I hope they're being safe.
you know,
I mean, Italy. I'm like, I don't know about y'all, dog. Like y'all got hit
I've had a
hard.
lot of L's. I'd be careful.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anything about EPL. Like, and obviously EPL being the biggest moneymaker in world football.
But they also were kind of one of the last ones to do anything about it.
This is true,
So,
and we'll get into that in a
I'm
second.
not going to expect them to be like the title change because they were the last ones to kind of really be like, okay, fine, we'll just we'll play. We heard about Boris. We'll relax.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. But so what do you think should happen with the NBA?
I heard that and I remember I was reading something about the NBA having a similar plan to what Liga kind of wanted to do, where they were going to like have. There was ideas floated around between the recent meeting that Adam Silver had in the Players Union president, which was Chris Paul and that group, and the union representatives about having like games just in Florida or something like that, because Florida has opened up. Florida is allowing games, allowing sporting events to occur as long as they're closed door.
That's never going to happen.
I know, but that's the discussion. They were going to finish out the season or something like that. This is my thing. NBA. 2 times in our history, recent history, the NBA has had lockout seasons. Mm-hmm. Lockout seasons were the beginning of the year didn't start to. I think the Spurs year they didn't start the season until December or to like All-Star
something
break.
Like that. Yeah, it was like 50 games.
That 96, I think it was 96 or 94. I can't remember. One of those years, they had the lockout year too.
Yeah,
it was right. It was right after the Bulls were on their 5th or 4th. They had a lockout year. Mm-hmm. One of those, because the players, obviously the NBA revenue was viewers were high, and the players were only making like 30 or 28% on how much the NBA was making.
I remember the Spurs championship lockout year.
Yeah, no, that was in the 90s. I don't remember exact year.
Because I think that was the year they swept the Cavs.
Yes, in the final. Yeah. So
boy.
That was very impressive, I guess. So Kawhi Leonard won MVP that year too. So, anyways, to me, I'm like, okay, like if your approach is that in those days you cut games off, you still had a playoff and a final, then to me it's like, why did you have an issue doing that this time? Like, why would there be an issue just cutting off the season and just worrying about the playoffs later? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because you started the season late and then played like 40, 50 games that year, then you went to playoffs and you had a championship. If you played already some 50 games, already had All-Star break, because I think All-Star is like 2/3 of the season.
Something like that.
Why couldn't you just skip the playoffs? I know it's unfair to teams that are battling, but like, is it really mathematically different to start later and cut short than it is to end earlier and cut short? Like, what's really the difference?
So what do you think they should do? You think they should just scrap the season?
I don't think they should scrap the season if they're allowed to do like a playoff run. Like if they're allowed to do like some kind of
what about maybe starting the playoffs now? Like like whenever they start, just start playoffs.
Let's say they're allowed to start playing. Let's say we open up May 15th. Like that was like some of the states are talking about May 15th. Let's say allegedly May 15th is good, and they can do some closed games. And apparently, I think almost like 80% of NBA players have been tested already, or some crazy number. Wow. So it's ridiculous. So if they're already like good to go, then like if they want to do like I mean, think about collegiate sports, AAU teams. A lot of them do same day time. They want to do some kind of 7-day tournament where they let these teams play a bunch of 3-game series to determine playoff spots, and then just do a impromptu thing. I wouldn't hate that because they got pretty creative with the All-Star game. They did kind of their own thing. Yeah. So who knows what kind of ingenuity they could come up with. if they want to be like, hey, let's make it to like 12 teams and just see what happens, and then let the bottom teams fight for an 8th spot, and then we'll do a final tournament, like a playoff, and just go like in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Like, I think it'd just be, they would only benefit by starting at that time period, no matter what it is. Like, even if it's like kind of goofy, I think the public will understand. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to do something super proper when this has not been a proper situation.
Yeah, I mean, although like I feel like like LeBron was saying he wouldn't play if there's no fans, but I mean, I'm sure he would if
He
they.
would.
Yeah,
He's just trying to, and I get what he's saying. Like,
yeah, no, I mean,
he would.
when he said that, things were a lot different. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think,
If he said that, he said to ask him today, he'd be like, yeah, like, I mean, he cares about the safety of his family. He'd probably be like, okay, like,
yeah,
and he probably misses
I could, I could, because they've already played about like 65 games or so.
Yeah.
So I could just see them just like whenever they restart, like whenever it is, like even if it's in June, I could see them doing just like, let's just start the playoffs, but do like 3-game series.
You know what they could do? Maybe if they have teams, like if they have like, let's say the West has 4 teams within, I don't know what the brackets are, right, the standings right now. Let's say they have 4 teams within 3 games of the 8th spot. They can have like a mini wild card game to determine an 8th seed, and then just start the playoffs off and let it go. Why not? There's just a 1-game wild card that couldn't hurt nobody. It's like a good warm up, and if you get in, you get to go.
There's a lot of stakes. There's a lot of stakes, and there's a lot of viewership for that too.
Yeah, and I think people would be down if they did some kind of. They could come up with some cool. I think a lot of people would tune into an otherwise usually low rating 8th seed game.
Yeah,
it'd be a cool little wild card. See, I don't know. I'm not have the brackets, the standings up in front of me.
I have it right here. Like in the West, Portland, New Orleans, and Sacramento all are 21.5 games behind the Lakers.
No, but what about the 8th seed?
The 8th seed is Memphis, and they're 3 games above. So like,
yeah, like you could. I mean, if they gave it to the Magic on the East,
I'm gonna keep it real.
Go in, fine. If the Wizards don't get in, it's fine. Like,
I'm gonna keep it real. Like that idea is a good idea, but like the 8th seed is like 3 games above that 9th seed, so they might as well just go ahead and start it with those 8.
Yeah, because I mean, damn, the Portland getting in 29-37 hurts my whole. You don't deserve it. 29-37, you don't deserve to get in. That's below 500. F that. So actually, no. You guys are cut. Go play. What did they call it in college basketball? Go play the
NAIA, yeah.
NAIA tournament. Yeah. Go have fun. Win that joint. I don't care about.
Yeah, I could see them doing like 3-game series.
Just do, yeah, because they were talking about moving it. Make it 3-5-5 or something like that,
or just make
7.
I would say 2 out of 3.
Make the first round 5 like it used to be, and just go whatever you want to do. People look, they're gonna want to play. There's contracts in place. They're not making adjustments clearly, so they want to play. Let them do like a first round shorter. Just go hard the next 7. Fine, people are gonna watch regardless.
I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, I mean, I think that the 7 numbers should probably be out.
It's gonna.
I would say 3 and 5 at the most, but like. You gotta, but the only reason is because you have to end the season.
If you're not going to be able to have actual proper home games, anyways, do you need a 7-game series? Not really.
Yeah, I'm just saying because you got to end the season. Like the players need an off season.
The 7-game setup is to give you advantages at home and then disadvantages of visitors.
And for more people watching on TV. But for me, all I'm thinking about is ending the season because like obviously NBA ends like early June. So like if they're going to start around that time, like. You don't want to be playing into September, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, the playoffs start in May, so
yeah, but I'm saying like the final is like in mid-June, right?
Yeah. Usually? So,
but if I'm saying,
and then if you're gonna be, but I think they, let's say they start in May. I mean, they're not gonna be traveling anyways on a lot of these games. If they just do in one state or whatever, one thing to do,
Yeah, don't give it to Florida, please. But whatever.
They definitely don't. But I know, like, I was reading that like Nevada's going to open up soon, Texas is opening up soon. So
some of these states are never closed.
Yes, but some of those states don't even have NBA teams, so they couldn't really do it there.
Yeah, that's true.
But I know logistically it's kind of wild, but I agree with you. Like, if they open back up and it's that kind of setting, then fine. Just making sure we got like the public health. Like, that's the priority to me.
Absolutely.
Before I get this basketball dribbling or soccer kicking thing going on.
Yeah. What about NFL? You think like it'd probably be good for them to start the season? Well, they started in August. For my own sake, I'm gonna put in the air that things will be back to normal by August. I don't even want to talk about NFL. Let's talk about.
Please God, I do not want to. Yes, for my own humanity.
Yeah,
I
What do you
can't be
think
like this in
about
June, dog.
what do you think about some of these soccer players taking wage cuts? Players from Roma, Arsenal, Barcelona, Juve, etc., some other teams too. Like they've the players are taking wage cuts. I think they were saying that Juve has saved the team like 90 something million euros. Roma saved the team like 30 something million euros. What do you think about the players taking wage cuts?
That's a tough topic. Because to me, it's like you save money, you cut your wages to save a team, but what does a team really do to save you?
Mm.
What does a team do for you? What does a club do for you?
I mean, Caesar, this ain't the NFL, dog. It ain't as
No, it,
bad.
huh?
This ain't the NFL. We talking about like
I mean, how many players have we talked about in history that have been moved to clubs they didn't want to go to, or they go to some other place
literally just that one, just Adriano.
that you know about? So it's like to me, it's like, I mean, sure, man, you want to. I probably put you in good spirits with the fan base too. You know, like I can see the positives and everything, and saving the club's important because that's the people that pay you. Like you want to save your employer, but I mean, does employers not have insurance set up for these situations? Is that my responsibility to cut my salary because you don't have insurance to keep your operations running?
Well, nobody can prepare for a global pandemic, dog.
No, absolutely not. But doesn't mean I got to prepare my wallet for your sake either.
Damn.
Think about this. This is what I'm saying. This is about this.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying,
This is
damn,
a hypothetical for you
that
here.
you turned up.
Let's say Dybala has like 5 kids, right? On different states, different
Three,
countries.
three
Let's
of
say
them
he
are.
pays alimony on all of them, and he pays 64% of his wages out. Does that mean his alimony is chilling too? Like they cut back on that too? Like what's really going on logistically here? Like
I mean, I would imagine.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Every country's operating differently. I don't know what's going on. So
I'm,
that's good that they're doing that. Like y'all are noble. It's dope. But like don't expect them to do a favor back to you. That's all I'm saying. This is at the end of the day, it's a company. Like they say it's a club, and then Barcelona has the slogan "more than a club" and all that. Just when you do that, know that you're making a sacrifice for the better of your club, and not it's a sacrifice. It's not a promise. It's not a agreement. It's not any of that. Like you know what
well, I
you're
think.
doing.
Well, I
So
think they're doing it for the sake of charity. Like they're sacrificing for the club.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's just some of these clubs, man. I mean, who was the guy that was running Bayern's club? You really want to be doing charity for him?
I think he's out of there now. I think.
He is now, but he was there.
Well,
I'm just
Wayne.
saying, I don't know. Like for me, it's like I don't like to like do this whole empathy with the crest and the club thing. It's kind of like weird to me. Like it's not like a blood ritual here. This is just a team that's paying you salary
I mean, maybe they
and
don't
they're
feel that
shipping
way
you
though.
around based upon how much you worth.
I think you're also putting some of the American sports culture on these things
Okay,
too.
and I think you're like empathizing as if they're all sweethearts out there
No, I'm
too.
not saying that, but
They're not.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I think you're putting some of that on these clubs too, because obviously in American sports there's like no loyalty to teams. Like that's over with free agency. So I think you're putting a little bit of that. I mean, you could admit
Also,
it.
Adriano, dog, I didn't forget about you. They played you, B. Balotelli, come on, dog.
Well, Wayne Rooney actually is criticized. Well, this is a couple weeks ago now, but he criticized the British government for putting Britain's top flight footballers in a no-win situation over the problem of pay cuts. And I guess Gary Lineker and Gary Neville also spoke out. Rooney was saying that professional players are like easy targets in the wider response to the coronavirus crisis. Basically, he was saying that the government's response was like weak and lackluster, and now like there's people saying like, oh, these players should like cut their salaries, and he's basically saying like that's like we're being used as scapegoats.
Well, the thing is like that's the only issue I have with everything. It's like, okay, like you see the names making money based upon like these reports and all this, and
Yeah,
how much they pay for this guy and all this and this. But what about like management people? What about the board? Like how much is the board
yeah.
still pocketing right here? Which is that's like what I was trying to get to. It's like there's other people banking that we don't know
No, he
names.
didn't say that, but okay.
No, I know, but that's like what I was kind of trying to get to. You feel me? So it's like like there's
He
Why is it the
said
player's responsibility every time? Why is it them?
Yeah, no, but I mean, and I feel you on that too. He was kind of specifically coming at Boris Johnson, kind of saying like, yo, like you're criticizing us, but like you guys also kind of like were pretending like it was a hoax as well and just talking about herd immunity and stuff like that. And now since that didn't work, now we got to kind of like foot the bill. But he also said like he would gladly help nurses and whoever else needs it, but he didn't really like that attention and that focus, like, oh, the kind of wagging of the finger, like, what are you doing since you're a millionaire and
Yeah.
you've gotten 3 DUIs?
Okay, man. You like grandma's. So the thing is, like, it's like the players taking a pay cut. The players expected to donate more than 100,000 in charity because everybody got way more money than that. It's like all these things that we want these athletes to do, but we never talk about people cutting checks for athletes. And
Okay,
that's
Gary Lineker had some bars. He was saying like, why not call on all the wealthy to try to help if they possibly can, rather than just pick on footballers. He said nobody seems to talk about the bankers, the CEOs, huge millionaires. Are they standing up? Are they being asked to stand up? We don't know.
they were
Uh,
saying that Jeff Bezos makes 679,000 every 6 minutes.
yeah,
Every
he's
six
got
minutes, dog.
140
Every
billion
six
dollars.
minutes. He can't sacrifice 1 hour of pay. No, but I'm saying
No, yeah, I mean
why I gotta take Dybala's money? I want Dybala's money.
he can't let Amazon and Whole Foods employees unionize.
Hell no, he can't. He's definitely not doing that. Like he's never gonna let that happen. Sadly,
There's been who was it? There was some player who criticized the way the Premier League handled coronavirus, basically saying like they had them playing too long. It was some.
way too long.
Oh man, I'm trying to think who it was. Damn, I can't remember. I feel like it was some African player. Um,
Of course.
and somebody also criticized Serie A too. I can't remember, but yeah, I mean it's interesting. I also read a thing. I guess some French politician was saying that he was saying that basically the transfer market is going to be like completely decimated. And he was like, yeah, Mbappe was worth like almost like 200 million euros last transfer window, but now he's going to be worth like 40 because like all these teams are taking such a hit. Do you think that that's going to affect the transfer market? You think we're still going to see big 9-digit
I think
transfers?
that's cap. I think that's companies. I think that's teams trying to play with the market.
But no, he's not a team guy. He's a French
I don't know
politician.
about that because once again, like we said again, not everybody's been affected the same. Not
Of
everybody's in
course.
the same situation. And I think people don't understand how deep money really runs. Like,
You understand, right?
yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know about 5G, so it's like I don't know what you're talking about right now. It's just I think there's definitely going to be an adjustment period, but then again, I hate some of these prediction things because we don't know when this is all going to stop. That like there was another thing talking about like, oh, if there's a vaccine might take a year to make, so it might not be able to get back into like next year. I'm like this is just too much. Like it's just too much. Like I'm like I don't like foreseeing. I mean, you talk August is. I don't even want to hear about anything not resuming in June. I don't want to hear about that.
I feels
Be a
that.
human in June by then.
I feels that.
So let's all chill on everybody being a predictor because what's really funny, everybody's really good at predicting when hindsight's going on. But no one was predicting all this. No one was going this hard about all this right now.
Definitely not Caesar. Caesar was like, nah, it's not a big
I was
deal.
saying it's a hoax.
Caesar
I
said it was a
mean,
Republican hoax.
like, so I don't know. Like everybody seems to be really good at predicting when it's super bad, but no one's predicting the good. Like where's the good in all this? Where's some silver lining? Like what's really happening? So I don't know. I want to just see what happens. It's definitely still day to day, even in sports, day by day basis.
Facts, yeah, for sure. Okay, so we won't be negative. By the way, I guess if it ends in 40 minutes, I don't know how long we've been recording, but
They don't even give me a timer on this joint.
I guess if it will, don't mess around too much.
We're both recording, so
Relax. I guess if it just stops at some point, we'll just like resume. We'll just like
we'll definitely quit.
Okay, so then I don't want to talk about will Syria survive, so we won't do any fear mongering. But they're definitely not. I'm just joking.
I'm so down to fear monger Serie A. What's going on? Also, Serie A is gonna survive. Stop. She's been around since 1899. There was like multiple world wars happened since then. So let's go. Yeah,
Uh,
multiple World of Wars.
um,
They're good.
so I think the episode we talked about this initially was the USSF Mafia
What a great
episode.
name.
I think it was after
Gotta be our pro club's name now. I'm gonna get rid of Compton Magic and get USSF Mafia. That's hard.
that's actually a great name. I think that it was after Carlos Cordero was selected and not elected. I think that episode we also talked about Liga MX was talking about potentially scrapping promotion relegation, and we went off. I can't really remember
I think I
everything we
remember you
talked.
talking about now.
Yeah, we went off on that.
It,
So recently, just a few days ago, they announced that they have suspended promotion relegation for the next 5 years.
what a
Um,
suspension.
I mean, I'm like, why don't you just say you got rid of it altogether? Just relax.
We're not gonna have it for 5. We're gonna revisit this in 5 years. How's that?
Yeah. I guess they said a vote was held via a video meeting between 18 Liga MX owners. Um, and I guess they agreed with the 12 teams in their second division. Um, so they're saying that in these 5 years, the 12 second division clubs will receive a guaranteed yearly payment of about $1 million from the top flight to promote the inclusion of younger players in their squads. So, I mean, it's definitely still they're not going to have pro rel, but the top flight teams have to like collectively give about $1 million to each club in the second division.
That's funny. You that literally just tells you what it's really about.
Yeah, and they're also saying in this article's on BN that I'm reading. They're saying that this it's like fueling speculation over a potential Liga MX and MLS merger, which I think will never happen. But people are talking about it like I don't think it's going to happen so much to the point like when I seen it being talked about, I was like, I'm not even going to talk about that on the podcast. Like it's so ridiculous. Um, but yeah, so they're suspending promotion relegation.
I mean, I think they are gonna have it. I think it is gonna happen.
You think so?
Unfortunately, I think so. I think that one thing I've learned about the history of this region, America kind of gets what it wants, and
But that's the thing. Okay, good.
and if I think it's had and not in a positive way, it's had direct influences on countries surrounding it. I mean, Canada basically can't get their own major one started because we have the major Canadian teams part of America. They probably would love to make some kind of super league thing going on, because I think that there gets to a point when you have these TV contracts where they don't see numbers soaring, they don't see things going, so they start to try to play around to see what happens. And people in America loves fresh things, new things, and I could see them like think about this. If you're a top tier Liga MX, let's say you're Club America, you would easily pay $1 million to not get relegated, no matter what.
Yeah,
If
for
your
sure.
guarantee was to not get sent to the Segunda, you're like,
Yeah.
all right, like, yeah, take $1 million. Like, that's a great rental fee to like a space. They're basically paying for a space to
Yeah,
stay in.
yeah.
So, like, and
But
then
what does that have to do with the merger?
I think with the mergers, I think what their idea is like they want to do some. I think first of all, I think their big obstacle is trying to get the calendars lined up. The calendars aren't lined up. America's calendar is so goofy compared to the rest of the world in terms of soccer. So they want to get the calendars. I think they want to do something. I thought the initial idea was to start getting make a different type of tournament, like a tournament. I understand, but like a super league. I can only see that happening because maybe MLS has some kind of influence on how much has so much money they're talking about. Like, we're not doing so good and we have this money to spend. I don't know. I can see it happen though. Unfortunately, not in a good way.
I can't really see it just because like Mexico has its own oligarchs too, and I don't think they want to like be having to compete directly with like these American
But
oligarchical entities also. You know what I mean?
but are they also thinking? Not saying it's right or wrong. That like there is American. There's diverse populations in America that they would love to get their clubs to get exposure to, not just to the public, but to add revenue to sponsorships.
Yeah, they could.
Because there's a lot of connections in between money and companies and corporations between America and Mexico.
That's true, but I think that right now, like, what does MLS have? Like almost 30 teams.
Yeah.
So you're going to add another 18?
You're really going to hold it back on these idiots from adding teams? Lord Jesus.
No, I mean, honestly,
have this many, and we're going.
I just honestly, I just don't see it. Like,
to me, if they do it, I think it's a bad idea.
Well, so let's say
make the league worse.
If it was to happen, honestly, like, let's just say, because they were saying like, oh, maybe by 2026,
we're going to go bankrupt.
They were saying by 2026, whenever America, Canada, and Mexico are supposed to have the World Cup. If that was to happen, like, it's over for youth soccer in America.
Over for youth soccer, and I think a big thing we could talk about is I would just be counting the years until bankruptcy hits, because
bankruptcy for who?
In terms of like the league, like not
that league.
Yeah, our league or whatever the hell's going on.
Well, I think that league will be lucrative.
I personally, Bam, don't think it's lucrative enough. Like that big move, I feel like logistically is so much more expensive than what we're doing right now.
I mean, it is.
I can't see the amount of gains you're really going to get from American team perspective. Maybe Liga MX has more to gain. I think they have more to gain than American teams do, personally. That's what I think.
I mean, it's just so crazy.
Getting the gain out of that much, because the you're trying to tap into the American market. The USA market is what you want to tap into.
Well,
that's where you're lacking. That's where you're lacking in viewership. Not because we're not getting enough people in Querétaro watching Minnesota United. That's not ridiculous.
That's the thing. I feel like MLS, probably their viewership is low, and they're probably like, well, maybe if we can get Minnesota United to play Club Leon, then we'll get some viewership. Because MLS, people.
But the thing is, how much more viewership are you going to make if you're going to start already paying to move people in games from Minnesota to freaking down South Mexico? That's kind of crazy to me.
Well, I mean, that's just a flight. It's not that crazy. But, I mean, the only thing that can make it better, like the only thing I can see that could be good out of that is if, like, salaries are higher for that league. So, like, players get paid more. I remember reading something, some player I think he played for Chivas. He was saying that he had to pay his own medical bills when he got injured with the team. So, if there's things like that are put in place to make it better for the players, sure. But ultimately, I don't see it being feasible. I think it's a terrible idea.
You know what? I'm gonna kind of take back a majority of what I said. I think I'm with you. I can also see them also kind of just put this out just to test how the people react to it too. Like these rumors about like, oh, merging the league. Because if there's high hype around it, what are people gonna do? They're gonna be like, well, look, the people want this. People are just like, I
don't think the American soccer enthusiasts want this at all.
Their big issues. They're not, like I said. I think the big thing to change is, of course, like we talked about pro reg extensively.
Yeah.
As an issue. I think the MLS calendar is an issue, but that's because we have different kind of weather than other places do. I think our calendar is an issue here, and I think that they don't prioritize the Champions League here. I'm saying if they prioritize it, because I remember Atlanta United was doing great in MLS, but then they were sending out the B dudes to play in Champions League. The thing is, when you're doing that, that's an opportunity for you to grow too, and you're not exposing that opportunity. Like you don't want Yedlin to go play a game in Mexico. Why not? Like, who cares, dude? Like, these players like to play. Like, they want to play.
Honestly, it's just the reality is just
you have resources available to you to help expand the notoriety and investments outside of America for your club. But you're just not doing them.
There's some owner dude who wants to expand his yacht size. That's why.
Yeah.
He's like, I want the yacht Tiger Woods had.
Yeah, I want the yacht that Jaguars owner has. He had that real yacht.
I just remember Tiger Woods yacht. They said he had to drive around the yacht on a Vespa because it was so big. I'm like, God damn.
The owner of the Jags has a yacht that has 2 helicopter ports on it.
Why you need 2?
Why do you only need 2? You know why you have 2? Just because you can.
Exactly.
It's like when they put the TVs in the back of the back seat just so other people can see what you're watching. Like, damn.
Like he's probably got his helicopter lands in the front and just an empty one in the back.
Like he has one of those yachts where they have the gap in them, and you just ride through the middle. I'm like, that's like a Batmobile. The Batman yacht.
Okay,
come on now. Sorry.
Before we finish, I just want to mention this really quick. FIFA, the organization, has confirmed that it's promised $1 billion investment into women's football between 2019 and 2022 will not be cut as the organization explores how it will financially assist football across the globe. In response to the coronavirus pandemic, they're saying that they're not going to take any of that money out from the $1 billion they were going to invest into women's football. I hope that's the truth. And, because obviously like the teams with less financial stability are going to be hurt the most, but hopefully, FIFA is keeping their promise with this $1 billion for women's football worldwide actually being
That'd be dope. Please don't mess with that.
Please don't be lying about that, please.
That's not cool.
But yeah, episode 139, we made a podcast.
Hopefully it worked.
Huh?
Hopefully it worked.
Yeah, if this works, we'll be doing this more often. And honestly, maybe we can do more episodes than just once a week if this works fine. Obviously, there's not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to sports, but you know how we get down. But yeah, episode 149, make sure you check out Caesar. We Made It C's streaming on Twitch, being streamed. See, it's a totally different personality. It's a totally different personality when he's streaming, guys. Exactly. And yeah, make sure you follow us. We Made a Podcast, Instagram. Our Twitter's still down because Caesar is tweeting death threats.
That's all. No, I'm good.
What are you gonna say? Good.
And once again, shout out to everybody out there that's really working out here still. And
you're a freedom fighter, not an essential worker. You're a freedom fighter.
You're a freedom fighter. And make sure you guys are just staying safe and staying at home and staying healthy.
Yeah, make sure you're making good decisions. Good decisions. I trust y'all though. But yeah, holler. We Made a Podcast.
Oh man, I wonder if this worked.